When you look at human history, it is tempting to see a straight line of progress. We split the atom, we eradicated diseases, and we walked on the lunar surface. But this chart shows the actual composition of our universe. Everything we have ever observed, studied, or stood upon, every star, planet, and speck of dust, makes up exactly 5% of reality. The remaining 95% is composed of dark matter and dark energy. Physicists can measure their gravitational effects, but they cannot identify what these forces and substances actually are. If our most advanced tools are blind to almost the entirety of the cosmos, our working model of reality is missing its most important pieces. That physical blindness extends to our own timeline. In 1901, divers found the Antikythera Mechanism in a shipwreck dating back to 100 BCE. It is an ancient analog computer. It contains over 30 interlocking bronze gears that calculated planetary positions and predicted solar and lunar eclipses. There is nothing else like it in the archaeological record. That specific level of mechanical engineering vanished completely and did not reappear on Earth for another 1,500 years. We are missing massive chunks of our technological past, just as we are missing most of the physical cosmos. The narrative of reality we trust is full of holes. In 380 BCE, the philosopher Plato proposed a framework for questioning these holes. He described prisoners chained inside a dark cave since birth. They spend their lives watching shadows cast on a wall by unseen puppeteers, and because they have never seen anything else, they accept those silhouettes as the actual universe. 2,000 years later, René Descartes took that exact doubt and turned it inward. In 1641, Descartes posed a thought experiment. What if an invisible, malicious demon was actively deceiving his senses? In this scenario, every color he saw, every sound he heard, and the earth itself were just artificial illusions fed directly to his mind. By 2003, this philosophical thought experiment had evolved into hard statistical science through philosopher Nick Bostrom's simulation argument. This diagram maps Bostrom's logic. If any advanced civilization eventually gains the computing power to run realistic ancestor simulations, they would likely run millions of them. Statistically, the billions of simulated minds inside those computers would vastly outnumber the biological ones. What began as ancient prisoners staring at a cave wall is now a mathematically probable description of existence. Physics is starting to find structural evidence that supports this exact statistical probability, specifically through quantum mechanics and the observer effect. This diagram shows the classic double-slit experiment. When you fire particles at a screen with two slits while no one is watching, they act like a wave, creating a broad interference pattern on the back wall. But the moment you place a detector at the slits to measure them, the particles stop behaving like waves. They instantly snap into rigid formations and act as distinct particles. Physicist John Wheeler called this a participatory universe. The physical state of reality only solidifies into a fixed form when an observer is actively looking at it. We even have a measurement for the absolute minimum rendering scale of this reality. It is called the Planck length, a unit so small that beneath it, the concepts of space and time break down entirely. It acts exactly like a universal pixel size. Taking this further, physicist James Gates discovered self-dual error-correcting codes, the exact kind of math used in computer processors, embedded directly inside the equations of string theory. A universe with a strict minimum resolution limit, embedded error-correcting math, and matter that only renders when observed is acting exactly like programmed software. Viewing reality as a coded environment suddenly solves some of the most frustrating paradoxes in cosmology. Take the Fermi paradox. The universe contains billions of stars older than our sun. Statistically, the galaxy should be teeming with interstellar life, yet we see absolutely no evidence of anyone else. Under the simulation model, this emptiness is a coded feature of our specific, localized environment. Then there is the anthropic principle. The physical constants of our universe, like the strength of gravity and electromagnetism, are tuned with mathematically suspicious perfection. If they were altered by even a fraction, atoms wouldn't form. Perfectly tuned physics inside an entirely empty, isolated void is exactly what you would expect to find if you were a test subject inside an artificial environment. There is, however, one unknown that breaks the entire simulation model: the human mind itself. Philosophers separate consciousness into two categories. The easy problems cover how the brain processes data and controls behavior. But the hard problem is explaining why physical chemistry actually gives rise to subjective experience. If everything around us is just code or a participatory illusion rendered by our observation, why does it actually feel like something to be you? Your subjective awareness might be the only non-simulated fundamental reality in existence. As Descartes concluded centuries ago, I think, therefore I am. The boundary between the known and unknown rests inside the observer's mind. Subjective awareness acts as the force rendering the universe into existence.